So today I'll be talking about the pros and cons of living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So my name is Ben. I'm with Keller Williams Real Estate Office. If this is the first time on this channel and you want to know about living, investing, sleeping, waking in Winnipeg, Manitoba, make sure you tap the subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified anytime we do a new video. We got so many people reaching out to us about planning on moving to Winnipeg, and we absolutely love it. So if you're planning on moving to Winnipeg, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, however you want to get to us, because we got your back in moving to Winnipeg. Now today I'll be talking about the pros and cons of living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'll be looking at the 4 pros and 4 cons of living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So the first pro of living in the rural Winnipeg, Manitoba is that you are very close to nature. Yeah, in the rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, you'll be surrounded by nature basically, and you'll be very close to nature. When I mean close to nature, you'll be close to like it's just like you'll be close to most of the animals, surrounded by forest and things like that. So you'll be so close to nature when you're living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. I could remember the last time I spent some few days outside the main Winnipeg. I was surrounded by nature. It's also a good experience to get away from the busy city life, you know, and really enjoyed my stay outside the main central Winnipeg. So if the first thing is that you'll be surrounded by nature, and that's the first pro of living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So if you love nature, you want to be surrounded by nature, it's a great place. Rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, you should consider living outside outside Winnipeg, and be looking to live in the rural areas of Winnipeg, Manitoba. So that's the first pro. Second pro is that you'll be very close to the beaches. Now most of the rural area of Winnipeg, Manitoba, that's where you find most of the beaches. So if you love to live near a beach, love to be surrounded by beaches, you understand me, you want to spend some time at the beach, you know, it's rural Winnipeg, Manitoba should be one of those places you should consider in living. So if the most of the beaches, like I said, are very close. They are close in proximity with people living in the rural areas. When you have the Winnipeg beaches and a lot of beaches around that particular area, it's hard to find any form of beach in central Winnipeg or around Winnipeg as a whole. Most of the beaches are always in the rural area of Winnipeg, Manitoba. So if you love beaches, check out if you love beaches, then you should consider living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So the third pro you'll be looking at is participating in many outdoor activities. Now if you're living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, you have the tendency to participate in many outdoor activities such as skiing, ice fishing, going to beaches. There are lots of activities that most people living in rural area can participate in than those who are living in central or in the main Winnipeg. So or living in the city. So so those who are living in the rural area can participate in more activities than those who are living in the city. So if you love all these activities such as skiing, ice fishing, going to beaches, and many outdoor activities, then you should consider living in rural area of Winnipeg, Manitoba. fourth pros we'll be looking at is rural Winnipeg Manitoba is quiet and very peaceful. Now, not everybody loves the city life. Not everybody like the sound, the business of the city life, like cars, the sound. That's one of the characteristics of living in the city. You hear there's always buses, cars, moving around, lots of noise. When you're staying, when you decide to live in rural Winnipeg, it's quiet and peaceful. If you love the quiet serenity of the rural, if you like to live in a very peaceful and quiet environment, then you should consider living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. Yeah, it's one of it should be something that you should consider living in. It's also a place in which we're all created in different ways. Some like to live a quiet life, while some like to live in a city. So if you love to live the quiet life when we're surrounded by nature, then you should consider living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So now the bonus to what to the pros also is that if you're living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, then you have access to the farmers market, fresh stuff. It's like most of the farmers market that you have in Winnipeg are in the rural area. So those are the pros of living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So now we'll be talking about the cons. Now the first con in living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, the first con is that you have to drive miles to get groceries. Sometimes it might be I could remember when I traveled down to Gimli and the likes. The lady I was actually I stayed with during my short stay over there, she had to drive miles down to central Winnipeg to get groceries. So I think that's a con. That's one of the cons of living in rural Winnipeg. You have to drive miles, you understand, to get to the city, to get your stuff, to get groceries and get some of those stuff that you need. So that's a con for me, living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So that's the number one con. Now the second cons of living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, the airport. Now, if you're someone who likes to travel a lot, you move from city to city, or move from you like to travel a lot from city to city, all over the world. Like to try. If you're someone who like to travel a lot, then it's going to be a cons for you. Now you have to move because to the airport, the Winnipeg airport, from the rural area is it's going to be miles apart. You have to be traveling hours to travel so outside of the country. So the airport to these rural areas are far apart, so you have to go on hours of journey to be able to travel outside of the city. So if you're someone who likes to travel a lot, then I think that's a con. Now, unlike people that stays in the city itself, then it's just like by 20 minutes drive, 30 minutes, 30 minutes drive, you're at the airport. But if you're living in rural area, then you have to go hours, you understand, to get to the airport. So I think that's a con also in living in rural Winnipeg. Third cons of living in Winnipeg, Manitoba is basically it could be boring sometimes. Yeah, it could be boring. Yeah, when I had a trip to Gimli also, Gimli and the likes, the various rural areas around there, it could be boring, especially when you don't have activities planned out. Now, if you don't have activities planned, then it could be very boring to live to stay there. You understand me? So if you're planning on living there, then you should make sure that you have activities planned out. You plan your day so that you don't actually it could show so that you don't get bored. So because there are less social interactions, people are living, just live to themselves, and they just it could be boring because there are less people you can interact with in the rural area. So and I think that's one of the cons for me living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba. So the last cons for me in living in rural Winnipeg, Manitoba is you are far from civilization. Now, when I say it's far from civilization, if you go to central Winnipeg, in the city, you see tall buildings, beautiful malls, fancy places all about. But when you live in the rural Winnipeg, Manitoba, then you have, you can find malls, you can find all those stuff in the rural area. You understand? And that's why they have to travel miles to get stuff. So you could be so far from civilization. Yeah. So depending on, anyways, it's depending on who you are and what you want. Some people just like the quiet area. They prefer staying in a quiet place. Sometimes some people just don't like living the city life. So depending on what you want, we can help you with whatever what you want. If you want to stay here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the city, we're here for you. If you want to stay outside of the city, we got your back. So if you're planning on moving to Winnipeg, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, however you want to get to us, because we got your back. You're moving to Winnipeg. On to my next video. I'll catch you later.